What if I told you that the single most powerful secret to building rich, dark, worm-filled soil has been sitting quietly in your kitchen pantry this entire time? It's an ingredient that costs, well, next to nothing, and yet it really holds the key to creating that beautiful, crumbly, living soil that we're all after as gardeners. You see, it's something that farmers across Asia have been using for literally thousands of years to create some of the most fertile land on the planet. And yet, most of us here have never even thought to take it outside and put it in the garden. That ingredient is rice. Now, not the rice you cook and eat for dinner, but raw rice, used in 4 very specific, very simple ways that modern science is now confirming can completely transform the health of your garden soil. So, let's get into it. Okay, before we jump into the 4 tricks, we really have to talk about the why behind it all. Because once you understand this one simple idea, everything else we're about to cover is going to make perfect sense. You see, the soil in your garden, it isn't just dirt. It's a living, breathing community. In every single handful of soil you pick up, there are billions of tiny organisms, bacteria, fungi, all kinds of microbes. And they're all working together, breaking things down and releasing the exact food your plants need to really thrive. And the most valuable workers in that whole community, well, they're the earthworms. They do all the heavy lifting. They're tunneling through the soil, creating little pathways for air and water to get down to the roots. They eat all the organic matter, and what they leave behind, their castings, is just nature's perfect fertilizer. When you learn how to feed this living system, your entire garden just comes alive. So, how do we feed that system? Well, we do it with 4 simple, ancient tricks that all use rice. We're going to go through each one, step by step, and I'll explain the simple science of why it works so incredibly well. All right, our first trick is the fastest acting one, and honestly, I think it might be the most powerful. It's called fermented rice water. The next time you go to cook some rice, don't pour that cloudy rinse water down the drain. Instead, pour it into a jar. Just cover it loosely, you can just set the lid on top and let it sit right there on your counter for about 3 to 5 days. You'll notice it starts to smell a little sour, kind of like a good sourdough starter. That's how you know it's ready. Then, just mix 1 part of that fermented water with about 10 parts of clean water and use that to water your plants about once a week. So, what's actually happening in that jar? Well, that fermentation process is creating billions and billions of beneficial bacteria, the same kind you find in yogurt called Lactobacillus. And when you pour this on your soil, these good guys get to work immediately. They fight off harmful pathogens and they speed up the process of breaking down nutrients, making them available for your plants to use right away. You can honestly expect to see a real, visible difference in your plants and in the feel of your soil in as little as 7 to 10 days. It's just a wonderful way to give your garden a quick, healthy boost, and it couldn't be easier to do. Okay, our second trick is all about attracting your garden's best workers, those earthworms, and bringing them right where you need them most. This one is so simple, it's almost hard to believe. All you do is dig a little hole, maybe 3 or 4 inches deep, drop in 2 tablespoons of cheap, raw white rice, and just cover it back up with soil. I like to mark the spot just so I remember where I put it. Here's what's happening underground. As that rice slowly starts to break down, it releases starch, which is pure energy for all the living things in the soil. And it turns out, earthworms are powerfully drawn to it. They'll actually travel to come find it. And as they gather there to feed, they're busy tunneling and enriching that exact spot in your garden for you. It's amazing. Now, if you go back in about 2 or 3 weeks and carefully dig around that spot, you will be absolutely amazed by the number of worms you find. For anyone who's dealing with that hard, compacted, lifeless soil, this is just a beautiful way to bring it back to life, right from the inside out. Our third trick uses a part of the rice that most of us never get to see, the bran. This is that nutritious outer layer of the grain. You can find it online or at most health food stores. All you do is sprinkle a handful per square foot right on top of your garden beds and then just lightly rake it into that top inch of soil. Think of it as a slow-release feast for all those microbes. You know, unlike a chemical fertilizer that just gives your plants a sudden jolt, rice bran is different. It's full of natural oils and B vitamins that feed those tiny organisms in your soil slowly, over time. So you're not just feeding the plant, you're nourishing that entire living ecosystem, steadily, for weeks on end. A single application will continue to feed your soil for 4 to 6 weeks. If you do this just once a month during the growing season, you are steadily building a richer, more biologically active soil that just gets better and better as time goes on. Now, those first 3 tricks are fantastic for improving your soil for a season. But this one is different. What we're about to talk about isn't a temporary fix for your garden. This is a permanent one. This is rice husk biochar. It's essentially the outer shells of the rice grain that have been burned very slowly without a lot of oxygen until they turn into this black, porous, charcoal-like material. Now, the most important step here is you have to charge it first. That just means soaking it for a day in some compost tea or any liquid fertilizer you have. Then you simply mix that into the top 6 inches of your garden soil, and you only have to do this one time, ever. The reason you only do it once is because this stuff doesn't really break down. It's like adding millions of microscopic sponges to your soil. All of its tiny little pores create a permanent home for water and for all those good microbes, protecting them from drying out or washing away. You're creating a perfect, lasting habitat for all the life in your soil. You add it once, and your soil is better forever. The carbon structure in biochar can last for hundreds, even thousands of years. So this isn't just a seasonal amendment. It is a one-time investment that will improve your soil structure and its health for decades to come. So there you have it. Let's just bring these 4 ideas together into one simple, complete plan for your garden. Just think of it like this. You have the fermented rice water to flood your soil with new life. You have the buried raw rice to call the earthworms right where you need them. You have rice bran to act as a slow, steady feast on the surface. And finally, you have the rice husk biochar as a permanent structural fix to give all of that new life a safe and perfect home. Each one of these methods works with the biology of your garden, not against it. They're simple, they're not expensive, and they really, really work. And now, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your time with me today. If you found this useful, please take a moment to like this explainer. It really does help us reach other gardeners who might find this helpful too. And of course, please subscribe so you don't miss what we have coming up next. But most of all, I genuinely love it if you leave a comment below and just tell me which of these 4 tricks are you going to try in your garden first. I read every single one. Until next time, happy growing.